Okay, I'm going to be doing a little video on reading playing cards. If you go online, you'll see a lot of different YouTube videos on how to read playing cards. And everyone's got their own ideas how to do it. There's nothing consistent with it. One of the reasons I think is because passed down orally from, psychics, family members, charlatans, gypsies, and so it's sort of an intuitive thing, like any card reading system is. Anyways, I'm trying to figure out where I stand on all this, and so I'm working on it, and I think I finally read something that kind of made me go in another direction than I was going in, but not a major change. Now, I don't know if you read tarot, transitioning to playing cards is fairly easy, especially if you use numerology and the elements, because you can just take that and you'll have, it's like having the minor arcana, working with the minor arcana, not work the tarot cards. The only difference with the tarot is that you have the majors. The playing cards don't have majors. They're more 52 cards, and they have the court cards, and then they have the 1 through 10. Now, so this is a great deck. Kelly of Truth and Story showed this. The Eye of the Ocean, poker-sized playing cards. I like these size cards. And it's Intrepid. I'm not sure if that's the name of the deck, but look at this. Look at this box. It's so cool. So this can be used as playing cards, if you so choose. So I'm just gonna talk a little bit as I show the deck, how I'm sort of thinking more about. I think I'll try to do a little reading before I leave, before we wrap up. I'll show you the deck. It's just it's just very, it's a classic deck. It's got some cool designs on them, like maps and stuff. So here is the club suit. Now the club suit, you can kind of name them any element you want, I think. I mean, some people are more comfortable naming it whatever they want to name it, of an element. Now the elements are the four elements. There's the fire, then there's air, water, and earth. Not necessarily in that order, but those are the four elements in tarot. And there's also the four elements can be found in playing cards. Now, I'm coming to intuitively sense that this club suit is the fire suit. So this is fire to me, and it's about inspiration. So when you have an element associated with the card, with the suit, then that helps you read it. So you have an ace of clubs, and that's fire. Ace is what? Ace, numerology. Ace is a number 1. So it's the beginning of fire. And what is fire? Well, you can define fire however you choose. You can define fire as this huge ignition, this huge amount of heat. It can be something small, a little, something that's at a boil. You can, how you define fire is kind of up to you. Now, traditionally, the fire is inspiration, creativity, growth, but it's also fire, it's this passion, this explosive nature of fire, and how it lights, how it cooks food. I mean, there's a lot of things about fire that is very practical as well as inspirational. When you think about an element, you can define your own element. You can define the element for yourself. There's very many metaphors for what fire does and what fire can be considered, or ideas. And so when you have your ace of fire. It's a beginning. Now, numerology speaking, it is the first in the suit, so that's the beginning. That's the birth of something. It's the first one. It's the jumping off point. So when you have an element and then you have a number, it gives you a sense of what that card is. So here we have the Ace of Clubs, which is fire. Now, it's the beginning. So when you see that in a reading, a card reading, I'm talking about a playing card reading, you can think about, depending on the position it's in, how you would read that. So it's very simple. There's no memorization with reading playing cards. You just have to think of the element and the number. Element and number. So here we have the other ones of the clubs. And in fact, I think I'm probably running out of space. Yes, I am. I hope to have a better space. So we have the now there is a person that's been doing her own card reading for many, many, many years. Started with her dad, and her name is Anna Cortez, and she writes a lot about reading playing cards, and her books are fantastic. Now, one of the things that she talks about is the number 10, and she considers the number 10 a court card, which actually makes a lot of sense. And I'll tell you what, even in tarot, if you read tarot, you have the 9 of Wands and the 10 of Wands. And if you look at the pictures, there's not that much difference in them. I mean, there's one's carrying it and one's going home. If you read the 10 of Cups, the 9 of Cups, they're both good cards. They're both ones, and has a lot of the 9 of cards is the wish list. It's wish card. It's the 9 of Cups is a very successful card, and then the 10 of Cups is a happy family. In the sword suit, the air suit, you have the 9 of Swords and the 10 of Swords, and again, there's not a huge difference. One is a nightmare, a terrible, heavy weight, thought-wise. You're very overwhelmed in your head and your thinking. And the 10 of Swords is death, So I mean, but there's this similarity to these 9s and 10s. And then again, there's the Pentacles, the 9 of Pentacles and the 10 of Pentacles. They're both very good cards. One's a retirement card and one is another happy family. So there's some repetition. I think when Rider-Waite Smith redid the tarot, or did their Rider-Waite Smith tarot, those 9s and 10s of the suit were really kind of redundant. And Anna Cortez, getting back to Anna Cortez, she did some research, her dad did research, and he said, no, the 10s should be part of the court system. In other words, they should be moved over to the court system. So you have your 9s, your numerology and your elements, and then you get into the elements and even the numerology of the court cards. And the thing about having the 4 cards, and of course tarot does have 4 cards. They have the Page, the Knight, the Queen, and the King. Where in a playing card, you don't have, you just have the Jack, Queen, and King. But she's suggesting to take the 10 and make it into the double digit and make that a court card. And it's brilliant, and it really is. It makes a lot of sense. So, I mean, for me, it makes a lot of sense. So in my reading of the cards, I would say, let's stick with the fire's element. Beginning of fire, 2. Duality. 2s are duality. 2s are, there's 2 things to consider. There's duality, connection. A decision has to be made. You're weighing your options. That's what a 2 is. A 3, talk again of numerology, is a breakthrough. You go from the 2 to the 3. And that 3rd piece breaks it apart. It's not an even number anymore. So there's some movement and some change in a direction. In other words, you've had to make a decision here, and you made a decision, and you're well on your way. The 4 is stability. We get back to those even numbers, those receptive numbers, and the 4 is a calming. It's a place to evaluate where you are and think about your next step. 4s, stability. 5s. Now again, we see another breakthrough with the 5. So you see how easy this is reading cards. You go by the numbers and you just look at what they, there's an uneven number, so there's an uneven sense to that card in that position. There's something that's happening that could be uncomfortable, it could be comfortable. You go by the other cards that are around it. The 6 brings you back to a more homeostasis situation. And another even number. And then we have the 7. Again, another change. So we see this, see these things in the numbers, this beginning with the 1, which is an odd number that shoots you off to begin, and then you have the 2, and then you have to think about things, 3, and then so it goes back and forth until you get to the 8 and the 9. Now, there's more to each number. Like 5 is often considered conflict. You have the 4s that are calm and stability, and then there's something conflictual that's coming in. And out of that conflict comes resolution to some extent, and a calmness. But you still have to move forward. You're still on this if you're reading cards in a spread, you're moving along well, and you figure things out, and it's getting calmer, but it's still there's still more to go in the suit and with the fire. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but we'll keep it in. Then the 7. 7s could be challenges or doubts. It's a time when, again, there's not stability. There's something unknown. There's a concern. You're on the path, but there is something niggling at you. You're not sure what you should do or where you should go from there. The 8 is often some kind of action you decide to take, and you know the direction you have to go in, and you'll take it no matter what. You're on it. And then the 9 is the conclusion. You come to the end of the road, and you finally finishing a cycle. When you ever see 9s, they would be the finishing of the cycle. This is according to how I'm going to decide how to read. That's the end of the fire cycle if a 9 shows up. Then we get into this 10. These cards here, the court cards are all people in your life, or people in your life. Could be family, it could be people you work with, could be people you know or not know that well. And the 10 is Anna Cortez refers to as the lady in waiting. The Jack is the king helper, the page, so to speak, maybe the knight. There's the queen of the suit, and then there's the king of the suit. So then we have this. It's very balanced. So you have female energy and male energy, or whatever kind of energy you want to refer to it as, and that comes into play when you want, if there's people involved in the reading, or someone that you could go for advice in the reading. It's this is all, for entertainment purposes only. Now, as this is, the element stays with the court cards as well. So these are all fire. There's a fiery young woman here. She's got a lot of passion. She's fiery. She may be a little bit overly impulsive because she's still young. Same with the Jack. It could be a man who's very impulsive. Maybe he's very idealistic as well, because that fiery nature can be idealistic and passionate. It's growth again. And he could be that way. And the queen is more balanced. because she's a queen. So queens and kings are more set in their ways to some extent, but she still has the fire, she still has the passion, and has more control over herself and the people around her. And then there's the king of fire, which again is someone much more stalwart and yet still passionate and still could be very fiery. Think of Henry VIII or something like that. So that's how I'm thinking is an interesting way of reading the cards. And this idea of the 10 being over in the court cards is from Anna Cortez. You can find her online. And she also has a new deck out and a new book out, which I would strongly recommend. Now, so we went through the fire suit. Now, just before we close up here, kind of rambled on again. I was just having coffee and decided to do this. I'm considering the ace of spades to be the air suit. Now, some books or some people will say, no, that's not the air, that's earth. But I see it as air. And that's what goes along mostly with the tarot. You know, these heavy thoughts, you know, I mean, it's the most dramatic suit in the tarot deck are the swords. And I see this ace of spades as a sword suit. And so it's about thoughts and communication. So the ace is the sword suit, about thoughts and communication. Ace of spades. So we have the element of air, and then we have the same numbers. And then we have the 10, the queen, king, and the court cards. Then we have the hearts. This is the cup suit in tarot. And it's also the water suit. It's the elements of water. Think about what water is to you. You know, it's mysterious. It roils. It's calm. It's many things. It's things are underneath it. It's below the surface. It's also associated with love and emotions. So then you have, you know, your gradations of the heart suit, again with the numbers, the numerology, and then you have the elements added on. Again, once you decide how you want to read all your numbers, and you know your elements and decide how you want to read your elements, what elements mean to you, you're good to go as far as reading cards. And just the only difference I would suggest is going along with Anna Cortez is making this 10, making this the completion of one of this suit, and this goes into the court cards, the woman, the young lady in waiting. Lady in waiting. And I'll just show this deck. This would be the pentacles, but in here this suit is the diamonds, and it's the earth suit. Matters, practicality matters, money matters, material concerns. And then you have your, what is this? That's an extra card. Then you have your court cards. So let's go and let's do a little, I don't know, I haven't done this in a while. I haven't read playing cards, but I really kind of want to do more of this, learn more about this, get a better feel for it than get out of the tarot for some reason. Now, the only difference between these two decks, really, besides the 10 being used as the fourth court card, which actually the tarot has, is it doesn't have the major arcana. But that's, major arcana is the major arcana. If you want to work with archetypes, then you should probably spend more time with the tarot. Let's see, what do I want to ask about? Let's see. Well, you can ask about how I think about what's the best way to read tarot, and that's kind of, is this a good way for me to read tarot? Yeah, that's kind of silly, but is this a good way for me to read tarot? There's yes and no questions you can ask. Is this a good way for me to read tarot? What kind of spread do I want to use? I'd still use a horseshoe spread. You can use the same spreads, I think. I mean, why not? Is this a good way for me to read tarot, to read playing cards? Okay, I'm going to read it. It's a mini horseshoe. So this is where I am now with my reading of, I'm going to turn them all over at once to get a sense of what I'm doing here. Okay. Okay. Wow. Okay, so what does this say? Okay, so this is where I'm at now. I would read this as it's a practical matter because we have the diamonds, which is the earth suit. So this is a practical matter that I'm concerned about. And I'm in a learning state. I'm not in an active state. I'm in a state of learning about it and trying to find my way. So I'm kind of open to ideas, open to suggestions, and kind of studying it. Again, the fours are not active particularly. It's sort of a sit down, wait and see, and thinking time, and so that rings true. This one is, what are my hidden influences? The Two of Hearts. So my hidden influences, I would say, is something I love, and it could be my hidden influences is my interest in tarot and card reading. I have the tarot and I have this playing cards, and I'm kind of trying to figure out which one is best. Now the 2 is interesting. It's a low number, so I'm thinking, well, this is just beginning my interest, and I have an interest, but I'm not obviously I really am learning as well as most people. I mean, I'm an ingenue. I haven't been doing this for years and years and years. So I'm open and I'm receptive to learn. And that's, again, it's a stable card. So I have these 2 stable cards. Now we have, what are my obstacles? My obstacles are the 6 of clubs, the 6 of fire. And 6 is, again, is another even number. So it's a thought process going on. And it's fire. So passion, inspiration. So, and I think to read cards, there has to be some inspiration going on, hopefully. Fire can ignite, and it also can die out very quickly as well. And maybe my obstacle is I could lose interest. If I if I just think about it too long, I could lose interest. The fire could go out. Again, I'm taking the element and I'm taking the number, and I'm thinking it's an obstacle. So I'm thinking, okay, so I have the interest, I have the spark, but it's not moving in any direction. I'm just thinking about it. Now, here is, in a horseshoe spread, it's how the community feels. I don't know. I don't have a community that I don't think is terribly interested in this, but maybe this video will do well. And it's a Jack of Fire. It's a Jack of Clubs. So the community may be a younger person. Could be a male, female, non-binary person. Could be looking at this and thinking, this might be interesting to pursue. So I think my community is a younger crowd that has the interest in learning something esoteric. And that probably is true. Now, where will I be after I pursue this? Well, this is interesting. I have the King of Clubs, the King of Fire, the King of Inspiration. Now, that's could be a person in my life, but it could also be where I'm headed. Maybe I will be the king of inspiration. Maybe this will lead me to be the king of card reading. Because it can be the energy could be king energy or queen energy. King energy is just more in your face. A queen energy is more, receptive, although they're both very powerful. So the outcome of this could be pretty dramatic if I stick to it. I have to stick to it, though, otherwise it won't be. So that's just a general idea of how you could do a little reading of playing cards. And that's it for today. Thank you. Have a great day.